We've been talking about the 5 neurological responses inherent in any good story: fear, love, longing, empathy, and action. In this video, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into this idea of fear. And you might think, oh my gosh, I do not want to hear a fear story. And I'm here to tell you that fear is not necessarily a bad thing. When we experience fear, we experience it in one of 4 ways. We think, fight, I'm going to duke it out. Flight, I'm out of here. Freeze, I'm immobilized, or fawn. What's happening is cortisol is coursing through our veins, and it's telling the amygdala, wake up, this is important stuff. So cortisol is not necessarily a bad thing. It helps us focus. So sometimes if you know your audience is experiencing fear, or they're all over the place and they can't focus, maybe you pull out a story that's going to help reduce that cortisol, or maybe invite them to focus with a little jolt of cortisol. I have been reading recently Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And what I love about that book and what Elizabeth Gilbert does is she talks about going on a ride in the car with herself and creativity and fear. And she says that fear can absolutely come along and it can absolutely not have any say in the conversation. In other words, it can sit in the back seat, it can have a voice, but it's not going to touch the radio station or tell us where we're going or make major decisions. In other words, don't let the fear hold you back. And if you know that your audience is experiencing fear, you've got to pull out some stories that are going to reduce that cortisol or get them to focus. And I'm reminded recently about how these last several years have been really hard for people. There has been so much fear and anxiety and a lot of stress. And there are 2 types of stress: eustress, U-E-S-T-R-E-S-S, and distress. And distress is that chronic stress that when we experience it over and over again, it is debilitating and it stops us. Sometimes as leaders, we need to pull out some stories where maybe we have experienced fear so that our audience knows that they too can experience that emotion and then possibly overcome it. So for example, like I said, these last several years have been really hard for people, myself included. I was moving along just fine with my business, and then the pandemic hit, and within 30 days, we lost 60% of our revenue. And then within 90 days, we lost 90% of our revenue. And I was in fear. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And how are we going to pull ourselves out of it? So fast forward to today, and sure, the fear is still there, and it's in the back seat. It's not in the driver's seat, and it's not dictating what I do and how I do it. So my advice to you is have fear, know that it's there as a response to stress, and then think about how you're going to tell some stories or give some examples to the audience to help them deal with that fear. So in our next episode, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the second emotional response inherent in any good story: love.